We are live at 1. Good afternoon. I'm Lillian Muli Kanene. More than 2,000 members of the County Assembly are in Mombasa for a conference to evaluate the implementation of devolution in the last 1 year. President Uhuru Kenyatta is scheduled to address the gathering. Our senior reporter Francis Gashuri will be joining us live on phone with the latest details on what exactly is happening there. And let's move on with other news of the day. And 5 governors from the Central Rift region have petitioned the Commission on Revenue Allocation to separately allocate money for development and recurrent expenditure when disbursing county funds. The governors drawn from Nakuru, Narok, Kericho, Bomet and Baringo counties say it was the assumption of many governors that all monies allocated to the counties from the Commission for Revenue Allocation were meant for development, only for them to realize later that the same was to be used to pay salaries. In a statement read on their behalf by Nakuru Governor Kenneth Mbugua during a performance evaluation forum for the 5 counties in Nakuru, the governors complained that fund allocation by the CRA is far much below the expectations of the counties.
Of oversight. And I thought, being a county government, the county assemblies are enough to oversight the county government, isn't it? So these other bodies with due respect or institutions, even the Senate, in my view, it should have nothing to do with oversighting the county government. Unless we are doubting the competence of the county assemblies, and so on and so forth.
And as earlier mentioned, more than 2,000 members of the County Assembly are in Mombasa for a conference to evaluate the implementation of devolution in the last 1 year, and the President Uhuru Kenyatta is scheduled to address the gathering. Our senior reporter Francis Gashuri now joins us live on phone from Mombasa. Gashuri.
Yes, Lillian, good afternoon.
Right, Gashuri. What are we expecting today at that gathering, and rather, what are the issues that have been raised there regarding devolution and its implementation as we speak?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you once again, Lillian. A while ago, President Uhuru Kenyatta has arrived here at Flamingo Beach Hotel in Mombasa. This is where 2,220 members of county assemblies are meeting to deliberate on the implementation of the devolution, or the devolved system of government, or devolution if you may like it. And basically to try and take stock of what has been happening in their 47 counties, the challenges that they have been encountering, and also what should be done to ensure that effectively Kenyans feel the importance of devolution at the grassroots level. And of course, there are quite a number of things that the county assembly members want to raise with President Uhuru Kenyatta insofar as the relationship between the national government and the county government is concerned. Some of them that I've been able to talk to are expressing concern that the national government has not been delivering enough resources to the counties to enable them fully have development on the ground. And of course, some of them insisting that in the 2014-2015 budget, the national government should allocate more resources to the county government to enable them not only handle recurrent expenditure, but also development expenditure. They're saying the 218 billion shillings that is being allocated by the budget committee to the county government is not enough, and they want the president to use or to whip the members of parliament, members of the National Assembly, to increase the figure to about 230 billion shillings to enable them develop their areas or their counties more effectively, Lillian.
Right, and Francis, proposals to merge counties and scrap positions, there's been talk on that, particularly with the ballooning wage bill. What can you tell us about that, seeing that members of the County Assembly are likely to be the victims?
I can tell you, Lillian, quite a number of MCAs that have been interacting with here before the president arrived. Of course, I was posing those questions, what they think about the proposals, particularly a proposal by the proposal to amend the constitution, proposals that have been fronted by two members of parliament, that is Benjamin Lagat of Aina Moi and Joe Mutambo of Mwingi Central, and I can tell you they are very, very disappointed with those proposed amendments. They're saying that dealing with the ballooning recurrent expenditure does not necessarily mean striking off the county assemblies or reducing the number of nominated members of the county assemblies or even reducing the number of wards in the country. They're asking the national government to deal with the runaway corruption, deal with wastage, seal all the loopholes where public resources are siphoned, and effectively ensure that there is enough money to take care of the 47 counties and also deal with other developments at the national level. And they're saying they will mobilize their supporters across the country to reject the amendments that have been proposed by the two members of parliament, and they're also asking the members of parliament to reject the two proposals, saying that if they agree to have their powers clipped or even their numbers reduced, then they will in return campaign the members of parliament on the ground. And what you may say is a political tit for tat. So, Lilian, you can expect a lot of opposition on the two proposals by the two members of parliament in relation to the life of the county assembly members on the ground.
Right. And Francis, as we finish, as the CRA pushes for additional funding to county government, earlier in the week we were talking to the Parliamentary Budget Committee, a member of the Parliamentary Budget Committee, which has remained adamant on the fact that this is not likely to happen, seeing as the governors, who are the CEOs of the counties, are seen to be lavish spenders, are seen, there's no development being seen on the ground, and therefore the members of the county assembly is likely to be affected by this sort of push and shove that we're seeing between this Parliamentary Budget Committee and the CRA and indeed the governors on the ground?
Lilian, on one hand is the question of how much resources can be allocated to the county governments to enable them operate effectively and optimally. And on the other hand is the question of oversight and usage of the resources that have been allocated to them. On one hand, the Budget Committee is saying that the county governments must account for every penny allocated to them and that they must show how they use that money before they can demand for more. Remember, in the 2013-2014 budget, county governments were allocated 190 billion shillings to share among themselves equitably, and quite a chunk of it has been returned to the central bank because the county governments were unable to use it. And so the Budget Committee is arguing that if the county governments were unable to use the resources allocated to them, then they cannot be allocated more because they have not been able to show how they will use it. But on the other hand, the county governments now saying they have their systems in place, the structures have been established, and so any resources that they will be allocated, they'll be able to put it into good use. Quite a number of county assembly members that have been able to speak to Lilian here are saying that the very same way the national government allocates itself money is the same way they should allocate the county government's money, and then after 1 year, then they can ask the Auditor General to inspect how they've been able to use their money. But of course, defending what many Kenyans would call wastage in terms of the tours, the travel, the big cars that they are riding in, and so on and so forth, saying the very way their colleagues in the National Assembly and the Senate are entitled to a lavish life is the same way they should also be entitled to the same, to enable them to serve the people who elected them effectively. So you can expect quite some push and shove, Lilian, on matters of resources allocation as well as usage, and particularly what they say is their welfare to enable them or serve their people effectively.
Right, Francis Gachuri, of course, looking forward to hear what the President will have to say regarding the issues and the concerns that the members of the County Assembly are raising. Thank you so much, Francis, for that. And that's Francis Gachuri talking to us on phone from Mombasa, where members of the County Assembly are attending a conference to evaluate the implementation of devolution. And, of course, the President expected to address the gathering, and we will keep you updated on the ongoings there in subsequent bulletins. And let's move on now. The National Transport and Safety Authority has launched the third phase of the National Safety First campaign in the Rift Valley. The campaign saw over 112 vehicles impounded for flouting traffic rules along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. And Mukami Chaka now has that story.
Road users had to literally exercise their patience yesterday as the National Transport and Safety Authority, in partnership with the traffic police, conducted a crackdown along the busy Nairobi-Nakuru highway to mark the launch of the Safety First campaign. The campaign was necessitated by the high number of road carnage, with Rift Valley recording 211 accidents in the past 2 months that saw 174 people lose their lives.
What I'm cautioning drivers is that be it day, be it daytime or nighttime, they have to be cautious. They have to mind other road users.
The exercise saw over 111 vehicles impounded, and unlike previous occasions where matatus had the highest number of offences, heavy commercial vehicles and buses bore the brunt.
The Nairobi-Nakuru road has been notorious for traffic crashes. Recently we had very bad accidents along Salga. So we are here to ensure that vehicles that are crossing this region have complied with the speed requirements.
Most of the traffic offenders were arrested for speeding and were charged in a mobile court set up on the highway. Some of the traffic offenders were fined on the spot. Mukami Chaka, Citizen Live at 1.
Right, and in other news, union officials earlier this week announced the end to the strike action by Kenya's public university lecturers after an agreement was reached at a meeting with representatives of the university's administrators. In studio to discuss this issue is Charles Mukwaya, Secretary General of the Kenya Universities Staff Union. Thank you.